Welcome to Mafia True Crime Stories, where every silence hides a secret. Here, we don't glorify crime, we unmask it. Each episode takes you deep into the minds of real gangsters, men who built empires on loyalty, fear, and fate, and lost it all the same way. From quiet dons to ruthless street legends, every story here is told with truth, tension, and the calm before the gunshot. So pour yourself a drink, dim the lights, and let's step back into the world where every whisper could be your last. They said a man like him should have faded with the old city, but ghosts don't retire, they wait. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories like this. Late nights in Queens, long after the clubs stopped buzzing, Sonny Franzese sat in a quiet corner booth of a bakery that smelled like warm bread and old secrets. Age hadn't softened him. If anything, it sharpened what mattered. He didn't need soldiers, or a crew, or a table full of loud voices. Just a cup of black coffee, an untouched biscotti, and the door always in view. He still wore the suit. Still polished the shoes. Even with hands that trembled slightly now, not fear, just time, the shine never faded. "Everybody wants quick money," he muttered once, voice barely above the hum of the espresso machine. But quick money dies fast. A younger wise guy leaned in, whispering, "Things ain't like your day, Sonny." Sonny looked at him, slow, steady, the kind of stare that made a man rethink his future. "Kid," he said quietly, "there ain't no new day. Just the same rules people stopped respecting." He didn't come here to relive the past. He came to watch the world betray its own values. And somewhere in that silence, a new threat was already learning his name. Because even legends aren't safe when loyalty becomes a memory. Afternoons were quieter now. No more union halls, no more whispered sit-downs in smoky lounges. Instead, Sonny walked the same blocks he once controlled, slow, cane-tapping concrete like a metronome of an era refusing to die. People recognized him. Some with fear that hadn't aged a day. Some with curiosity, kids who only knew him from documentaries and rumors. Once in a while, a voice from a passing car would call out, "Hey Sonny. You really never talked?" He'd stop, smile just enough to show he wasn't bothered, and say, "Talking is what gets you buried. Silence keeps you breathing." Even in old age, he moved with intention. He didn't slouch. Spine straight. Shoulders squared. Shoes shining like respect itself. Every step said, "I never surrendered to time, I negotiated with it." Inside a small Italian cafe, he read the newspaper like generals study battle maps. Headlines about new crime crews using phones, apps, flash. He shook his head. These kids think a password makes them untouchable. He sipped espresso. Passwords crack. Character doesn't. Old men played cards nearby. But Sonny didn't join. He wasn't passing time, he was still guarding it. Because even after 100 years, Sonny wasn't reminiscing. He was still judging the world, and deciding who deserved to outlast it. But soon, one familiar face would return, not as a friend, but as a reminder that ghosts aren't the only things that come back. It started one chilly evening outside an old social club in Brooklyn, the kind of place that used to hum with whispers and leather shoes, now half forgotten behind tinted glass and dying neon. Sonny stood there, coat collar lifted, breathing in a city that no longer remembered how to keep secrets. Then the door opened and out stepped three young guys, clean sneakers, loud gold chains, voices too bright for the night. One of them froze when he recognized him. "No, no way. That's him," the kid whispered. They approached like men walking up to a legend, not with arrogance, but with respect that felt borrowed from a past they never lived in. "Mr. Franzese," the youngest said, nervous grin shaking. "We grew up hearing about you. Guys like you? You're why this life even exists." Sonny's eyes narrowed, reading them the way he once read rooms full of armed men. "You kids chasing the life," he said, voice steady. "But you don't understand it." Another kid spoke up, eager, hungry. "We want to bring the old ways back. Real loyalty. Real structure. Sonny didn't smile, but something flickered behind his eyes. Memory, maybe pity. Structure, he repeated softly. Loyalty? He leaned closer. Loyalty ain't a slogan, kid. It's blood you never wash off. They swallowed hard. For a moment, they weren't wannabes, they were students standing in front of the last professor of a dying world. And that's when Sonny realized, the next trouble wouldn't come from enemies. It would come from believers. A few days later, Sonny sat inside a dim booth at a corner pizzeria, thin crust slice untouched, espresso cooling beside him. The city outside moved fast, screens glowing, sirens echoing. But inside? Time slowed for him the way it does for men who have survived too much to rush anything. Across from him sat one of the kids from the other night, the tallest one, nervous knee bouncing under the table. I don't want to do it wrong, the kid finally blurted. Everyone out here's fake. Rats everywhere. How'd you keep it clean? Sonny pressed a napkin flat with steady hands. Old, but steady. You want to know how? He asked quietly. The kid nodded. I didn't chase money. I chased order. When you chase money, you bleed. When you chase order, men follow you, even the ones who hate you. The kid leaned in, hanging on every syllable. You ever scared? He asked. Sonny didn't blink. Fear's not the enemy. Panic is. Silence stretched, heavy but comfortable. In that moment, the kid wasn't looking at a retired gangster. He was staring at a blueprint of power, calm, disciplined, impossible to shake. Sonny finally stood, sliding out of the booth with the quiet dignity of a man who never rushed his steps. Don't mistake noise for strength, he said. Real power never has to brag. He walked out, coat flowing behind him like a shadow that refused to fade. But outside that door, someone else was waiting, and not for advice. Outside the pizzeria, the evening wind carried a cold bite, but the chill Sonny felt wasn't from the weather. Leaning against a parked black sedan was a face he hadn't seen in decades. Older now, heavier, eyes dulled by regrets and years spent chasing corners of a world they once ruled together. Vince Three Buttons Marino. Once a loyal ear. Once a trusted shadow. Once a friend who swore on saints and silence. Now, the kind of man who walked like guilt was stitched into his coat. Sonny. He said it soft, respect wrapped in unease. Sonny stopped. The kid from the booth hovered behind him, curious. You're still breathing, Sonny replied, not smiling, not cruel, just factual. Vince forced a grin, the kind men used to hide fear. Time's funny like that. A pause. Too long. Too heavy. The kind of pause where truth tries to climb out but pride keeps it trapped. I heard you've been talking to the young blood, Vince said. Real eager types. Sonny studied him. You watching them, or watching me? Vince swallowed. Just making sure old ghosts don't wake up old wars. Sonny stepped closer, voice low. The wars never ended. People just got worse at fighting him. For a second, something ugly flickered in Vince's eyes, envy, maybe nostalgia, maybe fear. And Sonny knew right then. Enemies don't always come from ambition. Sometimes they come from memory. And this memory still had teeth. 2 nights later, Sonny sat in a worn leather chair by his apartment window, city lights blinking like distant warnings. Age had slowed his body, but his instincts still razor sharp. He didn't need proof to feel when something shifted in the air, when eyes he couldn't see started watching. The phones had changed. The faces had changed. But pressure never aged. A knock at the door, soft, polite, government-trained. Sonny didn't move at first. He let silence work, the way he always had. Then he opened the door halfway. 2 federal agents stood there. Young, clean suits, the kind who studied mob history like a college elective and thought it made them dangerous. Mr. Franzese, one said with rehearsed neutrality, mind if we ask a few questions? Sonny leaned on his cane, unimpressed. I mind everything. Ask anyway. They traded looks. We've had reports. New guys, trying to rebuild. They look up to you. Sonny's expression didn't change. I don't look back. They shouldn't look at me. The other agent shifted. He didn't like not being in control. Just making sure you're not, advising. Sonny almost laughed. You think I need to speak to teach? You think I need a crew to matter? He stepped back, door inching closed. Kid. I survived your grandfathers. Don't make this personal. Click. Door shut. Silence returned. But it wasn't peaceful. It was tight, coiled, the kind that meant the past wasn't done chasing him. Because legends don't fade, they attract hunters. And the hunt had just begun. Days passed, slow but heavy, like clouds gathering without rain. Sonny moved through them with the calm of a man who'd already survived more storms than most men ever see. But inside? He felt it. Not fear, just inevitability. Trouble, real trouble, doesn't announce itself. It whispers first. He noticed it in small things, a car parked too long, a kid across the street pretending to check his phone but glancing up every few seconds, shadows sticking where shadows didn't belong. Even the bakery owner lowered his voice now when Sonny walked in. Respect hadn't changed, but nerves had. One evening, sitting alone near a fogged cafe window, Sonny spotted Vince again, across the street, half hidden in a doorway. Not approaching. Just watching. That was worse. Because enemies confront you. But guilt? Guilt lingers. The bell above the cafe door rang. The young kid, the eager one, slid into the seat across from him again, eyes wide with urgency. Sonny, something's happening. Fed's been asking questions about you. About us. Sonny didn't blink. Didn't flinch. You nervous? He asked. The kid nodded. Should I be? Sonny's voice was quiet steel. Nervous men talk. You don't talk. He stood, adjusting his coat. But someone already is. Outside, the city felt sharper, watching him breathe. Some legends fall from bullets. Others fall from whispers. Sonny was about to find out which fate waited for him. The inevitable came not with sirens or chaos, but with a knock at dawn. Quiet. Respectful. Almost apologetic. The kind reserved for men whose reputations still breathe heavier than laws. Sonny opened the door. Federal badges glinted. A warrant. Cold wrists. Steel cuffs. Mr. Franzese, you need to come with us. No struggle. No protest. Just a slow exhale, the sound of a man who'd long accepted that every life, even one built in shadows, had a bill to pay. In the transport van, a young agent stared at him, confused admiration in his eyes. What keeps you going at your age? He asked. Sonny didn't turn his head. Principles, he murmured. Even when they hurt. Inside the detention center, fluorescent lights hummed like tired bees. Concrete, metal, stale air, the architecture of regret. But Sonny carried himself the same way he always did, shoulders back, chin steady, dignity untouched. A guard whispered to another. That's Franzese, old school. Never flipped. They didn't treat him like a criminal. They treated him like a relic, a reminder of a world where men didn't trade loyalty for convenience. In his small cell, Sonny sat on the edge of the bunk, hands folded, eyes calm. Walls don't break men like him. Time doesn't bend them. They just grow quieter. And yet, even here, someone wasn't finished trying to undo him. Months inside turned into seasons. Time thinned the world around Sonny, but it couldn't thin him. Even behind bars, he woke before dawn, shaved carefully, folded his blanket sharp as a dress shirt crease. Ritual wasn't routine, it was identity. Younger inmates would watch him, whispering like school kids near a monument. That's him, one murmured. He never broke. One afternoon in the yard, the same young kid, the one from the cafe, appeared across the fence, part of a visiting group. Their eyes met. The kid looked older already, worry carved into him. "Sonny, they're saying you told," he whispered through the chain links, voice shaking. Sonny didn't react. Not a twitch. "That's how cowards sleep at night," he said softly. "By inventing lies about men who kept their word." The kid swallowed hard. "I don't know who to trust." Sonny stepped closer, voice barely above the breeze. "Trust actions. Not mouths. Every traitor has a story. But loyalty? Loyalty is silent." A guard called time. The kid lingered. "You think I'll ever last like you?" Sonny's eyes softened, a rare crack in the armor. "Kid, lasting ain't the victory. Staying clean inside your principles is." And as the kid walked away, Sonny knew, even ghosts leave lessons. But ghosts also leave unfinished business. And Sonny's wasn't done yet. When Sonny finally walked out again, older, thinner, footsteps slower but heartbeat still stubborn, the air tasted different. No roaring crowds, no headlines. Just wind, traffic, and the city pretending it didn't remember him. But some remembered. At a small neighborhood park bench, he sat watching pigeons fight over crumbs. Across from him sat a stranger, not a gangster, not a cop. Just a quiet face. Someone who'd been waiting. "You don't look like power," the stranger said. Sonny chuckled once. "Power don't look like anything. It just is." The stranger leaned forward. "What was it all for?" Not a challenge. A genuine question. Sonny didn't rush his answer. "For nothing," he said. "And for everything. A man ain't measured by what he takes, but what he refuses to betray." The stranger nodded, stood, walked away. Sonny watched him leave, calm, unbothered. The world had changed. Men had changed. But the code? The code was eternal for those who chose it. In the final light of the day, he adjusted his cufflinks, smoothed his coat, and whispered, more to himself than anyone. "I never broke my word. That's all a man leaves behind." He outlived the world he built, not through luck, but through loyalty. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment your favorite moment, and subscribe for more cinematic gangster legends told the right way, with silence, honor, and shadows that never die.